This originally started as a joke. It isn't anymore. Ever since I started watching Boon Boonju, or Bakuwaga Sentai Boon Boonju, or Cranked Up Fighting Squadron Boon Boonju, my eyes were always fixated on the red boy Taya Hando in particular. He was never my favorite character or anything, but there was always something about him that fascinated me. And that's his him energy. In the first, I don't know, 10, 15 episodes of Boon Boonju, Taya is depicted as almost an alien himself. Bro is depicted to be stronger than all the other members, some of them even working in the special forces. And this guy who just has hella bands is better than all of them. Okay, so let's just get right into it, eh? Could Boon Red stop the Shibuya incidents? Spoilers ahead for both Boon Boonju and Season 2 of JJK, of course. Also, a bit of a disclaimer. Since you're watching this video, I assume you at least know what Jujutsu Kaisen is. If you don't know what Boon Boonju is, I reckon you could catch on. If not, then I suggest watching the show. Right, first up would probably be entailing what counts as stopping the Shibuya incidents. Okay, so at least of my understanding of it, the Shibuya incident starts at 7 PM when the veils are lowered, trapping the people inside. I know the anti-civilian veil was lowered later, but Tai won't be really there until the veil is lowered anyway. And it ends at about 11:30 when all the 2B sorcerers are awakened and Kenjaku leaves with the prison room. So for the sake of this video, we'll say Taya successfully stopped the Shibuya incident if he does one or multiple of these things. 1. He stops the sealing of Gojo by the hands of the disaster curses. 2. He stops Sukuna from being awoken / killing a bunch of people with his fights with Jogo and Big Raga. 3. He stops Kenjaku from absorbing Mahito and taking off of the prison realm and exposing sorcery to the common people. You know, Taya's a good guy. Whether to deliver it or not, his main goal is probably going to be stopping a bunch of people from fucking dying. Next order of business is probably going to be that I don't know the layout of Shibuya. I tried looking at it on Google Maps, but I'm pretty stupid, so I got confused pretty quick. So this scenario is going to be more like, Taya runs into someone and follows them in whatever escapades they're up to, you know? I mean, you're not really here for just Taya walking around on his own, are you? So, I don't think it's a big issue. Next thing would probably be Taya himself, really. I say it's right to go over his abilities first. I watched Boon Boonju over again and took note of what special abilities he had. I also made note of stuff that Mira and Shashiro did, because they have the same transformation device, we are to assume that anything that they can do, Taya can also do, but I didn't count this for the other members like Joe, Gemba, and Sakito. Okay, so we should probably start with the wheels. With his feet wheels, he's able to use them to run up walls, and they let him turn more efficiently while running fast. I'm pretty sure he's also able to fire them by kicking. Shashiro uses this, I'm pretty sure, but I put it in my notes as he uses the feet wheels. Okay, voiceover note. I was talking about another part, but I found it funny, so I kept it in. Mira also uses them against the vacuum water monster to stop both her and Joe from getting sucked. Pause. He's also able to use the feet wheels in conjunction with the back wheels to hover in the air for a bit. Speaking of the back wheels, he's able to use them to deflect oncoming attacks strong enough to slice a car and a van both in one slice. He's also able to control them like missiles by using the sword gun wheel like a wheel. Okay, another editor's note. In one episode, Taya uses one of the back wheels as almost like a landing pad to survive a fall with no damage. So, yeah. Next is the sword gun wheel. Let's go by modes, how are we? In one episode, Mira taps an escalator on the head and kills her. I don't really know if that means the sword is busted on Mira, but we'll say it's a mix of both. Well, other than that, the sword seems pretty normal, except for the time Taya extended it so long that it wraps down the entire world and retracted fast enough for Taya to hit the Automonster as soon as it comes back to him. I'll just let it play. Gun mode is able to damage auto monsters when normal guns can't, as well as them being able to direct the bullets using wheel modes. Wheel modes doesn't do much I haven't already talked about, but there's one thing. When they slam on it, it creates a force like a shockwave that can push back nebulas and shit. This probably won't work for more than lower level cursors. But yeah, that seems to be about it for base, besides the superhuman strength, speed, and reaction times. I imagine Taya's overall stats being superior to that of an average sorcerer, just because we've seen more superhuman feats from him than most sorcerers in the series. But there's still one last thing to talk about in terms of power. Boon Red 119 and Boom Boom Layer Rescue. I forgot to say it earlier, but I'm giving Taya access to everything he can use himself. So no Bundario and Boon Boon's a robo, because he's a sentient being with free will. To show how much stronger 119 is the base, we see more than once the entire team get beaten by an auto monster before Taya uses 199 in solos. When Sakito and Taya are fighting the 10th auto monster, it's a pretty even fight when the two of them are jumping him. But when Taya goes 119, he goes in on his own and completely stomps him. The 10th auto monster doesn't even get a hit in. The only real power it adds are the hoses, which send both Taya and anyone he hits him with back multiple meters. And Taya has to use his speed boosters to keep him where he's standing. And it's able to put out fires to make Taya and Shashiro hurt. The Sano auto monster didn't even do that, and he raised the temp to over 80 degrees in a few seconds. And the temp defo gets increased after that. But one place 119 doesn't seem to improve his speed. In the baseball episode, Taya, Shashiro, Joe, and Sakito all run the baseball field and go up from 0 points to 119. I asked ChatGPT how fast they'd have to be running to accomplish this, and it said they'd each need to be running at 178 feet per second. I don't know how fast that is, but if that's impressive, then cool. This either implies that they all run at the same speed, or that Sakito and Taya are running slower than the top to make sure they don't overtake Joe and Shashiro. I mean, we know that Sakito is faster than everyone else, supposedly even 119, so I say if there is a speed buff, it's pretty minimal. That's everything for Taya's specific feats, but there still is one thing we can use to rank up Taya's power more. Comparisons. Okay, so according to Coast Grading for Dummies, so me, the closest grade we can attach the average auto monster to is grade 2, since it's shown that normal handguns don't work on it. Side note, this probably means that Cannonball's upgrades would put them at about a semi-grade 1, so that's cool. Which means that a Chief/Commander Hashiryu would be a grade 1 or higher. Which means, for all you Boon Booger fans, you know, it's finally time to talk about Madrex. Madrex is probably either the second strongest or the strongest Hashiryu we've ever seen. At the time of writing this race hasn't really done anything, so I'd say Madrex is probably stronger. He's able to take on all the tireless Boon Boongers at once and even tank a 4-way finisher, something that usually puts auto monsters on their asses. And in a flashback, it's implied that he destroyed an entire planet's forces on its own, leaving them in ruin. We don't know how strong the forces were, but that's still impressive. I think Cannonborg is grade 1, but I think Madrex definitely deserves special grades. He was even the first person to beat the Boon Boongers outright. So yeah, I'd say Madrex is at least semi-special grade level. Also, on a kinda unrelated note, I remember seeing a video somewhere that said Jujutsu sorcerers qualify for special grades when they're able to take down a nation single-handedly, and Madrex, which does mean Taya being Madrex would put him on the level of a special grade sorcerer. Even if you don't think that Madrex should be anywhere near special grade, Taya beating him on his own does place him around grade 1 to semi-special grade anyway. And hey, at the time of writing this, he's just about to make his return, so when he shows up stronger and him and Taya have their rematch, then maybe you'll get at what I'm trying to say when I say he's a special grade. Okay, holy shit, I think we can actually start now. So, here's what if Taya Handa was sent to stop the Shibuya incident. In the words of Hotaro, Ichinose, I gotcha. There's still one last question we have to answer, and it's possibly the most important question of them all. Okay, so, Taya, Gojo. Who's winning in a band for bands? Now, while these characters are both depicted to be paped up after seeing their best money feats, I hate using this phrase, but it's not a debate, bruh. To my knowledge, Gojo's best money feat is probably that jacket that Nobu spilled coffee on. It was said to be 250,000 yen before tax. We don't really know how much it was after tax, but I don't think it really matters. So that's about $1,753.16 in USD. Pretty impressive, right? Not compared to Taya, it's not. Taya's best money feat actually isn't buying the clothes shop like you might think. It's actually that part in the second episode where he had Gemba buy a recycling plant in his name. So, Gemba hands the owner of this recycling plant a check for 100 million yen. That's 701,265 USD that bro just spent on a whim. Taya is easily beating Gojo in a band for bands, and he's probably not even gonna make a dent in his bank account while doing it. Okay, sorry about that. Now here's the actual what if. At around 8:15 in Shibuya, a veil was activated, trapping all non-sources inside, with the people behind this asking for a man named Satoru Gojo. For most, that name meant nothing, but for a select few, it meant everything. One of those few being Ishiro Meta, who, in his spy days, was once contracted to invade Tokyo's Jujutsu High and retrieve a cursed finger. He never got far, but even in a brief exchange, he knows about the Jujutsu world, and thus the Boon Boomers were contracted to investigate. However, the other members were busy with celebrating their Halloween, and Ishiro himself didn't want to miss the festive seal show at his favorite aquarium. And thus, Taya Hando and Taya Hando alone were sent to the scene with only his gear, a layout of Shibuya, and a picture of Satoru Gojo on his Boom Boom changer. He arrives to Tokyo Metro, Shibuya Station, exit 13 outside the Veil 15 minutes later at 8:30 p.m. And whilst he's scanning out the situation, he's approached by three men. The first looks like a middle-aged salaryman already checked out of life, with blonde hair, a leopard print tie, and a blue dress shirt with suspenders along with white dress pants. The second man seems to be a lot younger than the first, though that doesn't stop him from showing the same dead expression, with black spiky hair and what appears to be a school uniform. The final man seems to be more of a young adult, with what seems to be a beanie with an all-black tracksuit. After a long, awkward silence, the first man approaches and says to Taya, "Excuse me, sir. I advise you to stay away from this area." "No can do, sir. I'm on a mission." This statement seems to pique the curiosity of the third man as he says to Taya, "A mission? What do you mean?" "I'm a delivery man, you see, and I was tasked with delivering a man named Satoru Gojo to Shibuya Station." The three men seem to be taken aback by this. "Huh? I'm afraid you're already too late. Gojo is most likely entering the Veil as we speak. There's no reason to worry about the situation. Gojo-sensei is the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer of the modern era, and perhaps the biggest idiot too." "The strongest, huh? That sounds pretty cranked up." "Cranked up? What?" "Hold on a minute. If you guys are his allies, what are you doing here? If he's gonna get in a fight, shouldn't you help?" "Well, like we said before, Gojo is the strongest sorcerer of the modern era. Us trying to help would most likely just get in his way. Plus, we're on lookout. We're only supposed to enter the Veil if anything happens." "If that's the case, then I have nothing else to be doing. So I hope you don't mind me staying on guard with you all for a while." "What? We don't even know who you are." "My name is Taya Hando. Nice to meet you." "That's not what I meant when I said that." "So you need to get out of here. That's what we're trying to tell you. Even if you know of Jujutsu, you have no cursed energy. If you stay with us, you will die." Fushiguro, stop crashing out. "But I'm a hero too, you know. I'm the leader of the Bakurage Sentai Boon Booger." "You two, a word." "Kento-san, this man is suspicious and frankly insane. What should we do?" "This isn't good. How did he get all this information?" "He said he was the leader of a Boon Booger. Anyone know what that is?" "Maybe a detective agency?" "That may explain it, but I think the only way to know for sure is to bring him with us." The other two party members are unsure about this, but they don't interject. "Alright, sir. We allow you to stay with us, as long as you answer all of our questions and not get in our way." "Sounds good. Alright, men, let's go!" "Go where?" 31 minutes pass until Nanami is informed that transfigured humans have been spotted in Shibuya Station. And in response to this, Team Nanami enters the Veil. They scout the area for a bit, killing low-level coasters while they're there, but this is only for about 4 minutes, until they hear a faint voice in the distance. Okay, let me just stand up. Oh, fuck. Okay, now. 3, 2, 1. Nanamin! Is that good? Nanamin! Are you there? This racket seems to get the attention of our team. Itadori? You said Nanami? Gojo Sensei has been sealed! Sealed? You three, change of plans. We have to join Itadori-kun at once. If Gojo's really been sealed, it could spell the end for every human in this country. A new player, and on top of that, the strongest has been sealed away. Things are really starting to get cranked up. The team follow the voice up to the roof of a building, where they find a pink-haired boy yelling to the high hills. Oh, Fushiguro, Nanamin, and 2 other guys. Okay, that's rude, like, I don't know you either. Itadori, these 2 men are Takuma Ino and Taya Hando. Tire? Like on a car? Itadori. Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. Never mind any of that. Itadori, you said Gojo was sealed. Oh yeah, Mekamaru told me about it. Mekamaru is in the Kyoto students. Mekamaru briefs Team Nanami about the situation. Nanami goes to submit a request, and thus, Yuji, Taya, and Megumi are all left at the care of Ino. The 4 men head to the grounds to test the sturdiness of the non-sorcerer veil. Hut! Nope, didn't even budge. Well, nice try anyway. Do you think there's any sort of device to help break the dome? If so, I could deal with procurement. Besides the coast item, then no. Itadori's fists are already stronger than any weapon you can get your hands on anyway, so it's not worth your effort. We'll have to find a weak spot and put a hole in it, even for a second. We can't do anything without getting inside. Huh? Why not? What do you mean, why not? This veil's a barrier that keeps sorcerers from entering. It keeps sorcerers from entering? Yeah. Well, I'm not exactly a sorcerer, so if I were to enter this veil, what sort of things would I have to do? Well, veils are meant to be barriers, and barriers are meant for protecting, so the person who cast it is probably in there. So if you can... Back in Harajuku, some coasters used the veil as a distraction while they left with one of Sukuna's fingers. Oh, I see. Instead of staying inside the veil's protection, the risk of being discovered and defeated increases the strength of the veil. It's a real Egg of Columbus idea. You said egg? I think it was a metaphor. I know. It's no wonder Itadori's punch didn't break it earlier. By the barrier's logic, they must have centered it around a place that stands out, right? Because the increased risk of discovery would make it even stronger. A place that stands out, huh? That place stands out. Yeah, that's perfect. Alright, how are we gonna get up there? That's easy. I can use my Shikigami. Alright, and I'll buy the building, just in case we mess anything up. You'll buy the building. I mean, we don't exactly have a search warrant, do we? Yeah, definitely insane. Okay, so we got the place, but what's the plan? Oh yeah, I got this. Yuji holds out what appears to be a nail wrapped in paper, with writing across it. This is the foundation to the veil. Yeah, according to Meimei, the conditions of the barrier were already configured inside it. Someone just needs to pour cursed energy in it. Which means we should focus on destroying those and deal with the coast user later. Sounds like a plan. Right, now let's get out there. Or up. 10:01. There's a tall view atop Cerulean Tower Shibuya, and 3 ominous people, that I don't know the name of, have full access to that view. But their lax attitude was their undoing. As our 4 heroes attacked, Megumi and Yuji used wires and a bird summoned by Megumi, while Dino and Taya looked for the 3 veil foundations. Though, they were only able to find 1, and it was discovered that the 2 others were in the hand of the man currently being whisked away by the others. So it was up to Ino and Taya to deal with the 2 other people behind this veil casting. First, a young adult man with a blonde mohawk, with a white jumper and tracksuit bottoms. The second, an old woman with pure white hair. She has 4 purple eyes and, for lack of a better term, a more traditional dress. It's a funny story about this next part. You know, how the fuck do I describe this? There are no models for the old lady and whatever the fucking grandson's name is. Again, don't know the names of them. So, enjoy this, I guess. Oh yeah, also, all the models are in the description, by the way, so credit the creators. Give him a kiss for me. Give him a kiss for me. Give him a big old kiss for me. How the fuck do I turn this off? Grandson. Yes, I know, Granny. Hey, Taya. I suggest you stay back. Fight's about to break out. Who said I can't fight? Huh? All this rising tension. It's getting me really cranked up! Yeah. Let's do this. Alright. Who's gonna change? Go, go, go! Tire person! Not just any tire person. Boon! Hito! Oh shit, am I supposed to, just say anything that comes to mind? Anything. The mythical medium. Takuma Ino. The vicious vessel. Itadori Yuji. What do you do? The Ten Shadow Terror. Fushiguro Megumi. We're cranked up and ready to spin the wheel. This is the honorary Bakurage Sensei Boon. What the hell is going on in Shibuya? Now, this is actually where our first real deviation happens. Well, in the original, Ino couldn't get past the grandson in time to stop the granny. With Taya by his side, it's gonna be a breeze. They're both fast, agile with their speed, and can both hit hard. On top of them both being team players, it's like they clone themselves. Which means Granny and grandson go down fast, and Toji's not arrived. It's not like Megumi ever found out who he was anyway. Oh yeah, also Ino isn't put out of commission, so. With the threat quickly dealt with, Taya and Ino drop down to the road to reunite with the team. They fall down to find Megumi and Yuji having already dealt with the last threat and the remaining cursed objects in their possession. And with that, the anti-sorcerer veil was destroyed. With the anti-sorcerer veil lifted, the group head into the station. Yuji splits up from the group to cover more ground while Taya, Ino, and Megumi decide to stick together. And this is where they enter a certain room with a black sphere in the middle of it. A domain? It's most likely a special grade. I can create an opening using a domain of my own. Alright, but be careful guys. We don't know what we're getting ourselves into. The group decides to enter the domain to give aid to any possible struggling sorcerers. They step in to see a beach with 3 people in it. The first is recognizable as Nanami, despite his injuries. The second an old man with fully grayed hair and a partial spiky mustache. And the third a young woman with squared glasses, carrying a broken spear. The 3 of them seem to be doing battle with a octopus? What is that? I don't know. Maki-san! Megumi! Megumi's fast reflexes allowed him to quickly summon a new weapon for his ally to use. You 3. Where's Itadori? He's fine, he just went off on his own. Right now, we need to focus on this. The 3 of them drop to the ocean floor and Megumi continues to expand his domain, while Ino and Taya run to the shore to aid. Number 2. Reiki. Boom change. This fight's actually pretty interesting. For starters, there's no Toji, so there's no easy win here. But I think with Taya and Ino there, they could probably do it. If Dagon tries to send fish to injure Megumi, they have both Taya and Nobito there. They'd probably be able to catch up and deal with the fish before they even get to Megumi. And even if they aren't able to get there or are dealing with like a really big fish, a few good hits from Nanami will take them down for sure. And they could probably get back to the main fight just as quick. And even if they can't get back to the shore that fast, Dagon still has Maki and Ino to worry about. Maki dealing huge bursts of damage with playful clouds, and Ino being able to pepper in shots with number 1. Any attack Dagon throws, they should be able to block. But if they do get hit enough times, they'll probably go down. But the odds of them getting hit enough times for that to happen is unlikely. As again, Nobito and Taya are there. I see this fight ending in like 1 or 2 ways. Either A, one of them uses a finisher, either Taya with a handling or a shooting drive, or Ina with a number 4. I'm not entirely sure if either could kill Dagon outright, but both would do enough damage to where they can just stomp on his corpse. Or B, Megami creates a hole large enough for all of them to escape. I'm just gonna do option 1 because I don't want to write them fighting that run anymore. As the corpse of the octopus coast begins to turn to dust, our heroes stand there, frankly exhausted. Although, it seems their battle isn't over yet. There is another curse, with the head of a volcano, with one eye and corks in his ears. So you've passed on, Dagon. Leave the rest to me. Our souls will reincarnate regardless of humanity's fate. Let us meet again in the dystopia, centuries down the line. The curse now looks to our group. Now then, in a second, he appears next to Nanami, and just as he's about to kill him, Taya runs to his aid, tackling the coast down. So, you want to go first? No, not really. Just don't want you killing my friends. Taya kicks the coast out of the station and into the street below. I can't beat him as strong as I am now. Have to use everything I have. Zoom change! Alright, this is the fight. I went back and forth over the outcome of this one, like, Taya wins, no, Jogo wins. Here's the thing. The most important question, in my opinion, is the debate of whether Taya's hose would be able to combat Jogo's fire. Jogo's obvious parallel in the situation would be the fire auto monster, or the fire extinguisher auto monster, who, like mentioned previously, was able to spit out fire that made both Taya and Shashiro stutter. Both men have shown to be able to not only withstand, but fight in over 80-degree heat. So that means this heat must be hotter than 80 degrees. And keep in mind, that was his base form. This is 119. And with the hose of 119, Taya was not only able to contend, but beat the monster. To my knowledge, the only visual representation of how Jogo's fire itself is when he was fighting Sukuna, when he was able to quickly raise the temperature to over 99 degrees. Though that is an anime-only scene, that's the only thing we have, and I don't think the manga says anything about how hot Jogo's fire is.
Alright, obvious oversight here is that lava burns to around 700 to 1200 degrees Celsius. So that basically means I don't think a fire extinguisher can put that out. And you know, since Jogo is the volcano curse, you'd obviously be shooting out fire equal to lava. And there's probably some sort of interview where Giga says this. I'm only saying this now because it's many months in the future, and I always thought that this part was kind of wrong, and you know, I just didn't really want to think too much about it because I already had a good story playing out. But yeah, the thing is, most likely, if Taya got caught in that fire, he'd be cooked. Literally. I guess there could be a way for him to block it, like his tires. We don't know how durable they are, but I'm gonna bank on the fact they probably aren't gonna stop an influx of lava. So take everything I say after this as most likely wrong, and the what if it wasn't like a story, it'd probably end here with Taya dying and the rest of the story going on as normal. Oops, my bad.
While I could easily be proven wrong with this, I think the safest bet is to say they tie. This is actually where our boy Taya gets the edge. Because while Jogo's no slacker physically, I don't think it's a hot take to say he relies on his fire in a fight. And by now we should all know how physically capable Taya himself is. So now with Jogo only being able to rely on a physical attack to get the win, I say Taya beats him. Don't get me wrong, this is still an extreme diff fight for both of them. And if Taya didn't have 119, Jogo would have done him like he did Nabito. But I think 119 gives him both the stat buffs and the hacks needed to perfectly deal with someone like Jogo. Again, I could easily be proven wrong by this. I haven't done any research on Jogo. Maybe he one-shots him. And if that is the case, then video over, I guess. But I still have more to say, so Taya wins. I imagine this fight ending with both of them going Mega Death Mode. Maximum Meteor, Boom Boom Layer Rescue, they clash leading to a stalemate. This is where Tai uses the opportunity to hit Jogo with a Roaring Banish, putting him out of his misery. Ah, poor Jogo. He doesn't even get to die by the hands of the King of Coasters. Instead he just gets clapped by a tire person. You know what? Take this drawing, Jogo. Yeah. With the corpse of the volcano coast disappearing into dust, Tai's transformation is undone due to fatigue of 2 hard-fought battles. As he drops to the shattered concrete below, his new allies come to aid him. Taya, dude, what was that? You were holding out on us the whole time, huh? Yeah, sorry I jumped in. I should have worked with the team to take him down. I'm definitely feeling the repercussions of that. While Ino and Taya have their banter, Megumi takes the rest of the group to one side. Well, Kento-san, this is somehow worse than I imagined it to be. Megumi, who is that? Why was he with you? He said his name was Taya Hando, leader of the Bakuage Sentai Boon Buncher. We met him when we were outside the Veil on lookout. Yeah, he said he was a delivery man. He was looking for Gojo-sensei, but seemingly had little knowledge of Jujutsu. He doesn't even know what a sorcerer is? Nah, not me. What kind of delivery man did you pick up on the street, eh? I'll look into it. But for now, let's just be grateful he saved us. With Jogo gone, this means no Sukuna revival. And since Choji's not there to fight Megumi, there's no reason for him to summon Big Raga. So Shibuya hasn't turned to a crater! Yippee! That's about it, honestly. Because Taya is fatally injured at this point. There's not much else you can do. What probably might happen is that those girls would feed Yuji the finger. It would resuscitate him, but since Yuji can eat a single finger without Sukuna taking over, I'd say he'd just wake up later. He would probably wake up in time to fight Mahito, so from there on, everything would probably happen like it does in the actual series. The main group we've been following would probably go off to assist Taya and contact the higher-ups about him. Some of them might be there for the fight with Kenjaku, but I don't think that really changes anything. Also, quick thing I just thought of. Since Sukuna isn't there, that means Kusakabe and Panda actually fight Geto's minions. Since they have no feats and Kusakabe literally fought Sukuna and lived, they'd probably still win, but this also probably means that Kusakabe isn't going to be Yuji's execution. Anyways, as I was saying, that's it, man. So let's assess how much of the Shibuya incidents Taya solved or stopped. Fuck. According to my own rules, Taya did one of the 3 things, which is stopping Sukuna from getting revived and killing a bunch of people. So while I can't say he stopped the Shibuya incidents, he did the most Taya thing, which is prioritize the lives of the civilians and his allies. And to some extent it worked. He saved Nanami and Nabito, he let Inumaki keep an arm, let Ino keep an eye. So overall, I say it could have been worse.